Hey, what's up, guys? So first installment here of buck stories and thoughts from the trail, and hopefully some thoughts that can help you be a better hunter. This particular buck that you're going to see later in this video, this is a perfect example of what I call being more agile as a hunter. And I think it's important to understand that agility, what that means is to be able to respond to something that you see, right? To a stimulus. For athletes, you might respond to your opponent, seeing them move, whether they're covering you, guarding you, you're trying to guard them in team sport situation, or how you respond to the ball or something else, some other implement. But in the sport of hunting, we are responding to, as predators, we're responding to our prey. We're responding to the environment, what we see, what we hear, what we feel, smell. All of our senses become so important and in helping us be a more agile predator. And I think that the hunter of today is so inundated with technology, right? Like checking trail cameras and e-scouting and looking at maps and staring at your phone while you're in the woods, and that we actually become less agile because those features or advantages, if you want to call them, tools, yeah, they're extremely helpful. Don't get me wrong. I use them as well. But when it comes down to making decisions in the woods, like your hunter intuition, I'm sure we've heard that before. Like that hunter has such good, hunting intuition. Their woodsmanship is so skilled, so refined. And I think that that's where we, young hunters, new hunters, even old hunters, veteran hunters, need to sometimes get away from this kind of technological boom that has happened in the last 5 years. That is really, a lot of people are so consumed with it that they start to lose sight of being agile as a woodsman, and relying on those skills and your intuition, which really you can only build through experience, right? So when that same athlete is, let's use football for example. You've got a quarterback who responds to these offensive linemen who are coming at him. Okay, he's potentially the prey. They're the predators. Now he has been in these, he's taken snap after snap after snap, and he recognizes situations, right? And he responds to them. Sometimes he gets sacked, and he logs that in kind of his toolbox for future situations. Well, as a hunter, you do the exact same thing, okay? And how refined you are in making these agile decisions, quick decisions, based on something that you see, hear, you smell, whatever. Those how refined those responses are is directly determined by your past experience. So being agile is about having lots of experiences and a very big toolbox from which to call upon past experience. So when you get into a similar type of situation in the woods and you recognize what's going on around you, that helps you make a more refined decision for what to do next. Okay, and that's where I think that hunters really need to focus their time and their energy. If you want to put more bucks on the wall and meat in the freezer, you have got to focus your energy on being a better woodsman. That first and foremost, okay? If you don't have that, it's going to be very hard to even know what to do with the tools, right? Like the more the technology that we have access to. Those become even more helpful when you have this hunter intuition and you've refined it over years, but you can expedite that process just by putting yourself in the woods, making decisions based on what you see, hear, feel, what's happening around you, rather than just being so locked into, oh, well, my trail camera said that this buck came by at this time a week ago, I should be there. And sometimes you get like totally fogged over from some of the most obvious clues that are right in front of you on that given day. So the buck that you're going to see here in a minute, that's exactly what happened. End of the season, we have animals that are, they've been pushed all year. They've been pressured. They've been through the rut. They're now looking for these kind of sanctuary places, and that was exactly where I killed this animal. And I had actually been in this same, call it a chunk of woods. It was a really big chunk or area. I had been through there 3 times, and this was the final day of the hunt, and I just had this feeling, right? And that's gonna sound like, a little cliche, like, oh, yeah, he had a feeling and he walked in there and he got lucky. Well, yeah, luck is all around us. You can call it what you want, but I got a lot of luck hanging on the wall here too. But I just knew that of all the things going on that day, that this was the area that I needed to be in. And rather than taking a track, which I would have preferred to do, I actually passed up a track earlier in the day because it was crunchy snow, to get down and follow this kind of creek, which was full, right? There was a lot of rain, rivers were full, making a lot of, that was covering sound, right? So those rivers are loud, they're covering my sound. It's enabling me to get into one of these sanctuary areas very quietly. And that was the difference from days past where it hadn't been quiet, and I had not seen a deer moving through these areas. So anyway, I get down in there, and I'm kind of working my way in the shadows of some of this hemlock. Love to work in the shadows. That's another thing I think that I've learned over the years is at all costs I stay out of the direct sunlight and try to cover, keep myself under cover as much as possible. Yeah, anyway, working my way down through, and really, it was very much on the leeward side, but it was also just very kind of canyon-like, steep. And as I got down in there, I saw a buck, kind of side hill, about 80 yards away, broadside, easy shot. Pull up, and my muzzleloader doesn't go off, and I could tell immediately that it was a powder situation. So I was able to step back, unload, pull out the breech plug, load back up, and when I peeked back out, that deer was still there. Wind had started swirling a bit, and he had actually moved and was facing me, so it was a head-on shot, but I was able to put a bullet into him, and he took off, and you'll see the rest of the what happened here in the video. But just to finish off, guys, to be a more agile hunter, you've got to get off your phone. You got to stop being so concerned with what your trail camera tells you. You've got to refine your woodsmanship first, and then move on to, call it the second tier, the second layer of these tools. Because without that woodsmanship, that's your foundation, and you've got to build that first, so that you can then be more agile, build that toolbox that I talked about, build that toolbox of experiences, and truly be like in the moment when you're hunting, like be where your fucking feet are. Because if you're not, one, you're going to miss opportunities that are literally right in front of you, but you're also going to miss out on these clues, okay, that are so vital in building that toolbox, your hunter intuition, your woodsmanship, and ultimately make you a more agile hunter. Good luck, guys.
Well, last ditch effort. Sneaking back through a chunk of woods that I really like. Nice hemlock. Final hours of the season for me. I spot a buck. I'm like kind of on the hillside to my left. So I pull up, he's broadside, pull the trigger, and the friggin' gun doesn't go off. So I back up a little, try another cap, gun doesn't go off. So I start unloading the powder. Take the breech plug out, unload the whole thing, get the plug back in, gun won't shut because you get the powder built up in the threads. So finally I get the thing in there and I load it, get a cap on, peek out from around the tree, and he knows something's up and he's looking right at me. So he's kind of behind a limb, a hemlock limb, and I put it right on his chest and let him have it. And he's running hard. He's going downhill here now. These hard cast bullets, they don't blow up when they hit them or expand much, so sometimes you don't get a lot of blood. But man, I hope he's at the end of this dead, because it's been an emotional roller coaster the last few days. So anyway, hopefully I have something better to report here soon. He's right there. I gotta put him down. Meh. Meh. Gotta get him to stand up. Come on. Well, that was friggin' stressful. So I went about 40 yards after I made that last video, and I see him bedded. So he was behind a log, and I couldn't, like, I only had his head, so I had to kind of move. I got up to where I could get a little of his shoulder and settled the crosshairs, pulled the trigger, gun didn't go off again. So I get behind this tree here, and I'll show you. So he was laying, there's a log down there. He's laying behind that log. So gun misfires. I get behind this tree and reload, and then I crawl up here. I, with my next load, get it right on him, pull the trigger, and he's laying there. I can't even explain to be the last day here of a tough season, and to have this much kind of stress, and then finally have it work out. I might want to get another load in, but today's pretty well done. Real nice buck. Real nice buck. Yeah, you can see then he started bleeding a little better. Well, there's a really awesome ending to a really long, tough season. You just can't ever let up. You just can't let up. When you hunt this way, there's gonna be a lot of ups and downs, and more downs than there is ups. And you just have to be all right with that, because oh man, that's what makes us better humans, better hunters. Learning how to deal with the struggle, right?
Without it, without it, we can't grow. You know, you got to have struggle. You got to have some sort of stress. And yeah, this morning I added up my miles from the season here up north as 182 miles this morning. So by the time I get this dragged out, I'll be well over 190. And a lot of battled a lot this year. Oh shit. From giardia to tendonitis in my Achilles, and to not finding big buck tracks, to hitting a real nice buck a few days ago that didn't go down right away. Luckily my brother got that buck. Yeah, it's just so much ups and downs, and you have to be okay with that. Just like life, man. I mean, life's hard too. I don't know why I push myself to have these super tough hobbies that got enough stress in life, but man, something like this makes it all worth it. And we need it because our freezer's pretty empty, and it's been a tough year outside of deer hunting too. But you just can't let up. You got to keep forging ahead, and you know, learn something about yourself in the process. And sometimes it ends with something like this, and sometimes it just ends with a lesson learned. And you know, you take that and you get stronger, you get better. Fail faster, as I like to say. Sucks in the moment, but man, the quicker you can fail, the quicker you can figure it out. So thank you to the deer gods. This is my final day of the season. I had no more days to hunt. I got just a few hours left of daylight. I was slipping through a hemlock stand that I knew would hold deer. We had some inclement weather, and it's actually the third time I've been through here, and in the last 5 days, and finally put it together. This guy was sneaking through as well, and I caught him. A little stressful because my gun didn't go off the first time. I actually had to reload. Luckily he stuck around enough that I could get a shot into him and then get him down. So now the work begins because I got a long drag out. All right, guys.